I'll get you glasses.
There we go. Yeah.
All right.
See if we can get this. Miss Wanda can pull this off.
I'm gonna try.
She's gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
All right.
All will work. Whoa.
Nope. Hit. There you go.
Yeah. All right. So we're kind of there.
Okay. Just walked off and left me. Sitting here with you all. What in the world am I going to do with y'all? Anyway, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is Danny and Wanda from Deep South Homestead.
Or Danny by himself.
Or Danny by himself. Oh, man.
We're talking about a new look, and somebody has a new look.
Have a new look.
Boulevard.
All right. You know what?
Can you even see that?
I see it better without them.
Is that better? Without, you can't do it.
Okay. I see it, but it's hey Suzanne. I mean, I can see it just about as. Actually, I see it better without them.
I figured you would.
Yeah.
Show them this weird, crazy.
I got to show you guys something over here. I went to pick my glasses up.
Fold it all back up like it was.
The eye doctor asked me why I was even in there. He said, "You got 15-20 vision. Why are you even in here?" So we done discussed this one time. But anyway, I got my glasses, and they gave me a case to put them in. This is the case. Look at this.
Danny said, "I don't think my glasses don't fit in that."
I looked at. I mean, I'm sitting here. I got this pair of glasses here, and I'm looking at these glasses, and I'm going, okay.
It ain't
don't look the same. One of these things, and there used to be a song my brother and sister used to listen to it. One of these objects is not like the other, or something like that. It's like Sesame Street or something. I wasn't allowed to watch that, but my brothers and sisters could. But anyway, I was looking at the two different thicknesses of these, and I'm going like, these are not going in this.
And the woman says, yes, they'll go in there.
She said, yes, they will. And I come home, and I'm sitting up here. I'm opening this box up like this. I'm trying to stick these glasses in here and close them up, and it's just not working, you know.
And Miss Wanda comes over and takes it and folds the inside out.
Then the glasses fall down in here, and it makes a perfect triangle, and the glasses will fit in there. So anyway, you know.
I got new glasses, but they're similar to my glasses, and
yeah. But I had, I don't know if you can see them on these glasses, but I had, we got in a big argument about this. There's bifocals right here in the very bottom edge of that. There's a bifocal. You guys can see the line in there, so really right at the bottom. Well, when I wear these, I feel like I'm stepping off of a ledge all the time. You know, and I told him, and I made a deal with the eye doctor. I said, if I don't like it, I'm bringing it back. You're gonna take them, you know, you're gonna change it out. And he agreed. So when I put these on, my vision is not now looking way out yonder. Yeah, I can read a little bit of print way out yonder, but anything up close, even with the bifocals, I mean, I'd have to get up here and do like this right here, and I'm not going to do that. You know.
Yeah, and I have to have the screen at a certain distance because of mine are trifocals. So, and mine are transitions, isn't that what they call them?
Yeah, you got transit. Well, you got progressive.
Progressive, that's what it's called. So you don't see the lines in mine, but they're there. I have 3 different lines, and I wish I could go back to the 2. Well, I've never really had 2. I've always had 3 because I played the piano. He thought I needed the 3 different things. And so I can't go backwards.
Yeah, I can't do progressive lenses. They let me look through some progressive lenses, and I'm always up. Lots of times I'm high up in the air doing stuff, and I have to be able to see exactly where my feet are at all times.
Yeah, and you can't with these. I can't see below right here. I can see my hand right here. If I'm looking out, I can't see. Once my hand gets here, can't see it, so I can't see my feet. And I have stumbled and fell so many times because I won't sit and walk looking down.
Well, I mean, they asked me where I wanted the bifocals, and I have a pair with them straight across the middle, and I said, no, I will not wear those glasses. And I told them, I said, you can put them right in the very bottom of the lenses so I can just look down with my eyes and see to read if I need to read anything. I just didn't realize that it would make it look like I'm stepping off of something all the time. And I wore them for a whole day the first day that I got them. And I walk in the house and I said, why is the heater pipe crooked on the wood heater? Because the pipe was sitting here like it was leaning. And I leaned in my head and it was straight. And Ms. Wanda said, well, look at that thing right over there and tell me. Well, there was another object in the house and I'm looking at it and it looked like it was leaning way away from me, like way out yonder. I said, oh, no, I can't do this. I said, all day, my neck started hurting really bad because I got a disc messed up in it. And I thought it was just my neck. Well, come to find out, all day long I've been holding my head sideways, trying to
adjust
make everything stand up straight. So I was like, okay, this ain't happening. So I just took them off, and I actually see fine. I just been having some problems with dizziness, and I thought maybe, it might
created too many issues.
Yeah, I thought it might be the glasses. Now the glasses would be fine for some things, but not for just everyday wearing. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. So we decided mine are just a given until I have surgery. I have to have cataract surgery at some point this year, and when I have surgery, then the trifocals will go away, hopefully.
Yeah, she won't have to have glasses no more.
Well, he said if I do, it would be slight.
Yeah, just minimal.
And I've had glasses since I was 40 years old, so
we won't know how to act without glasses if that happens.
I don't know what I would do without glasses, so I don't know. We'll have to see. Sometime this year we'll see.
Yeah.
Somebody asked, would you discuss sweet potato? I think they asked sweet potato varieties. Let me go back.
Right there.
Can you discuss the different sweet potatoes? In other words, different types, I guess.
Well, I mean, sweet potatoes are more of a preference to the individual than they are necessarily to the plant.
But now
there's some that's made to grow up north. They have short vines, and all the energy goes to the roots, and they mature in a lot less days than the ones that we grow down south here. We have purple ones. We have ones with purple skins that have white flesh. We have sweet potatoes that are extremely hard. We have sweet potatoes that are extremely soft. We have some that are red, some that are orange. There's an assortment of colors, taste, textures. Wanda and I have tried an array of different types of sweet potatoes. Some we like for stir fry, and stir fry only. We do not want them for nothing else. The Musakis and the purple sweet potatoes, some of the red
dry.
ones.
They don't have a lot of sweet potato taste.
No.
So the purple ones, we have never found a purple sweet potato that was really good
to just eat like a sweet potato.
Yeah, but they're good in stir fry.
Yes.
They're just too dry. The white ones are okay like French fries, but they're not sweet. So you're eating almost like a French fry.
Yeah.
But it's not really that texture either because they're real dry.
Yeah.
Danny likes a baked white sweet potato.
I like the baked, like the Nancy Halls. I like a Nancy Hall sweet potato because it's more dry, and when I put butter or syrup or anything like that on it, it really is good. But now if I want to just like take some and take butter and mash them all up, I like a deep, dark red sweet potato that gets really soft when you cook it.
Yeah.
So.
And we learned by using a lot of the Hoss tool this year, slips. We had our own, plus we used 3 red varieties from Hoss tools.
Yes.
We like the taste of our own.
Our own blew all the ones out of the water.
When you just eat a sweet potato, you think, okay, it tastes good. Or you'll eat a different variety and you go, okay, this one tastes good. But when you put them all together and taste them, you definitely can taste the difference in the different orange and reddish varieties. And some of them just have a better taste. And ours are mainly, what was the varieties that we used?
We started out with the Puerto Rican yams, or they call them yams. They're actually not a yam. But they're Puerto Ricans and the Vardamans. We started out with Vardamans and Puerto Ricans. We did some Beauregards for a while, but we really created our own variety, and it is our variety that we really like the best because we have bred it, we've acclimated it. Let me put it that way. We've acclimated it to our soil here at Deep South Homestead. And
yeah, the purple ones and the white ones you have a really hard time cutting, and plus we found out, like, what was it, the Beauregards that was real big?
No, the Georgia Jets.
Georgia Jets.
Yeah.
Those things are so hard for me to deal with. Our little smaller ones they were cutting more like butter after you cut those big ones. It's a lot different.
Yeah.
A lot of people are mentioning the backdrop.
Oh yeah, the backdrop. We got a. What do you guys think? How do you like the new backdrop?
The little Farmall blanket was almost too short, and it wouldn't hang right, and different things. I mean, it looked good, but yet it was hard to adjust. If I needed to get into the closet and stuff, we'd have to take it down. Then you got to put it back up and getting it straight and adjusting and all that. So I went online and started looking. I told Danny, I said, I need to find a backdrop. So I went into photography backdrops and just looked at all kinds, and I picked about 3 or 4 and put them in my cart and said, come here and look. And he said, this one.
This one. Yeah, somebody's asking would I invest in any 401ks right now. I don't invest in anything right now. I believe in putting my finances and my money into tangible objects, things that I can lay my hands on, because now everything is just numbers on a ledger. And at any moment, one glitch, they can take it all away, and you have nothing, So I invest in tangible objects now, something I can lay my hands on. I don't do the investing like I used to. I don't. Technically, investing is like going and gambling, because you're taking a gamble with your money. You're putting it out there in HMMs and 401ks and your high money market accounts and stuff like that. I used to do all that, and I quit doing it. And I started putting my money into tangible objects, something I can, lay my hands on, and that way I know that it's real. I definitely know it's real, and I don't have to worry, am I going to lose it or something like that. Now, I try not to invest in depreciating items. I mean, I used to teach finances, and I don't believe in investing in depreciating items. People will go out there and they'll say, I just bought me a new car, a new truck. Well, that's the stupidest thing in the world you can do, You're better off to buy a 1-year-old vehicle, because they lose 3/4 or 1/4 of their value to a half of their value when you just drive them off the lot. So I don't invest in gold. I don't invest in silver, because in Ezekiel, it tells me that in the latter days of the age that we're living in, that people are going to throw the gold and the silver in the street, and they're going to curse it because it doesn't fill their bellies. In other words, it's not going to buy the food because the food is either too expensive or it's not there. That's in scriptures. And then I have some people come at me and go, but we're not going to be here then. Well, there's a lot of things in scriptures I don't understand 100%, so I don't take gambles with stuff like that. And then also, with the stroke of a pen, a president can make it illegal to own gold. Just like it was before, was it Reagan? Or before Reagan, all the way back to, was it World War II? It was illegal to own gold as a citizen. So I just don't trust the system. I always trust putting my money in tangible objects, because that way I can see it, I know it exists, and I know it's there. So I guess maybe that answers that question. But I mean, you do what you want to do. This is not financial advice. I quit doing that years ago.
We don't do that.
So maybe, I'm just telling you what I do as an individual. I don't keep any money. I don't believe in it. I invest it, like I said, in something I can lay my hands on.
Okay, somebody's putting up, asked a question. Miss Lippy put up
Yes.
Roundhouse overalls.
I wear Roundhouse overalls. The best. They're USA made. They're a little expensive.
About
they're about
close to $60
about $60 a pair.
But that's not too bad.
No, and I tell you why I wear Roundhouse. There's one specific reason. I was, let's just say I was in an accident many years ago, and they had to fly in a specialist to put me back together. Okay, I'm kind of like the $6 Million Man. This guy put me back together as best as he could. My right shoulder is, or my left shoulder, I'm sorry. My left shoulder is an inch lower than my right shoulder is. Probably on camera you can even see that when me sitting here. My left shoulder is an inch lower than my right shoulder. My right leg is 3/4 of an inch longer than my left leg. When they put me all back together, they did the best they could do putting me back together. And because of that, I have to have what's called a high back overalls. In the back of mine,
I don't know.
I can't turn. I really can't turn around. Where you can see the X in the back is up really high.
It's like right here.
It's up higher than the center of my shoulder blades. That
Where
way,
the others are usually
the others are
like
at the bottom
waist.
of your rib cage across there, or the bottom of your shoulder blade, should I say? This prevents the gallops from falling off my shoulder like this all day long. Now, if I wore Liberties or anything like that, they constantly, or Key, they constantly fall off this left side. They just keep constantly falling off. So that is why I wear Roundhouse, is because they're high back. Now, if there's other varieties out there that are high backs, I don't know about them yet, because mainly the Roundhouses serve the purpose. I mean, I get nothing out of any advertisement for Roundhouse. They don't, they don't give me no deals, that's for sure. And I've bought probably $100,000 worth of them, but they give me no deals on them.
Yeah.
But
we just order when I feel like ordering.
Yeah.
And I do go to the roundhouse.com website and order, because you can go on Amazon and places, I think, and order them, but you're getting them through a third party.
yes.
And sometimes those are seconds and stuff. You can get seconds at roundhouse.com, but they will tell you they're irregulars or something. If you want to get a cheaper version and get them a little cheaper or whatever. But sometimes, like, the stitching might be messed up somewhere on them or something like that, and he don't ever get the little things off his pockets. But see, these, there's nothing wrong with the stitching. But if you get an irregular, somewhere on them, usually the stitching is messed up, is what they call irregular.
They want to know what model Roundhouse I wear. These are
they're a darker.
they're the darker ones, but they're, I forgot the mill. Are they 8 or? That Roundhouse makes a very light overall that you can wear in the summertime, like a.
I think I get the heavier ones.
We buy the heavier ones for what are they? I want to say they're 12.
I don't remember, but he buys the heavier meal and wears them all winter, and by summertime they're wore out enough that they're, and faded enough that, so they serve a dual purpose.
Yeah. Darlene wants to know, do we have any more cows ready to calve? I have 3 of them coming up here in the next month or so that'll be ready to calve. A little concerned about them because they're first-time heifers, but we're always concerned about our first-time heifers.
Yeah. So we've got 3 that we've got to watch. End of February, 1st of March, maybe 2nd week of March.
Something in that area. I'd have to go back and look to be 100% sure.
Yeah, we just guessing because we kind of in our minds knew approximate dates, and we hadn't really looked lately. We talked about it yesterday. We just hadn't looked. Somebody wants to know, what do you think of ham radios?
I've been asked to join the ham radio group here where I live at, because they said they need people during hurricanes to let them know what's going on and all that kind of stuff. But guys, I'll be honest with you, I don't have time, to get involved in anything like that, because they have all kinds of meetings you have to go to and all that kind of stuff, and I really just don't. I really don't have time, and I've told them that. But I mean, it's a great thing if you have time to do it.
Okay, so Long Hair Country Boy wants to know, as well as 15 feet deep, if I lose power, can I attach a manual pump to the house? hose spigot to get water.
Probably not, because a manual pump will only pump about 25 feet, and you usually have to stick it down into the well itself. Now, you got a 15-foot well. If you lose power, you can just stick it on top of your well and pump your water right there. But now they do make a I'm trying to think of the name of it. Bison Pump carries it up in Maine. It's a stainless steel pump system that can pump up to 300 feet. So, I mean, but it is about $2,400 to $3,000 versus $100 for just a 25-foot shallow well pump. Let's see here.
Yeah, you're supposed to have a special license as a ham operator. You can't just start talking on a ham radio because you own one.
Yeah, they want me to go take all the tests and all that kind of stuff, and I just don't have time.
Yeah, we talked about it several years ago, and just the time is what it takes to, and you have to leave here and go somewhere to do all the stuff, and we're just like, we don't have time.
Plus, it takes a lot of money to set up the equipment, and I'd rather invest other ways.
All right, Hills Mills said, Mr. Danny, would you address the chat with this simple question? If you are debt-free with the homestead and healthy, how much does it cost you per year to live a debt-free life?
Well, now that depends on many factors.
Taxes, number one.
First of all, it depends on where you live at in the country and what state. And it depends on how much property you own, what kind of buildings is on the property. It depends on how frugal of a lifestyle you live. Do you raise all your own food? Do you go to the store and buy your food? What age are you? Do you get Social Security? I mean, there's about 1,000 different factors that has to be put into that formula, and there is no real answer for it. Now, the average person, now Wanda and I, I'll tell you this, Wanda and I, when we first got married, lived on $500 a month.
And it wasn't easy.
And it was not easy, okay? My house and my place was completely stocked with anything your mind could imagine to be able to have to survive with. And we did not have to go to a grocery store.
Danny and Debbie, his previous wife that passed from cancer, they were preppers. And she was a couponer back when it was really big. And she would buy up things with coupons. Yeah. So when Danny and I met 2 years after she passed, when I walked in the house, I'm like, good Lord. The house was neat and clean and everything, but you open a cabinet door, there was not just one of something, there was several of something. Yeah. And it was items that would last. It was not like flour and stuff like that. It was razors and I don't remember all the things, but anything you can imagine.
Can comprehend.
And then when you walked into the cellar, they had canned so much food over the last couple of years of her life, and then Danny had continued canning. Yeah. And he ate from it every day. I found out when we married every day.
Every day.
He would open green beans or English peas and some potatoes and some carrots and you know, cook some meat, because back then he didn't have canned meat. He had fresh meat. And so he ate out of that all the time. And I think you and I, probably the first 2 to 3 years, I know the first year we did not can anything but jams and jellies. I was amazed with the fruit trees, and we canned every fruit that he had available, fruit and jellies, everything, because I was like, I'm picking these huckleberries, and he says, I've been cutting them bushes down. I said, don't you cut my huckleberries down. Yeah. So we had a good time, but you can be very frugal and live very, very easily. Yeah. But the deal is, you need to save for taxes of any kind.
Any kind of taxes. Well, I mean,
insurances. Because if you've got a car, even if it's paid for, you got to have insurance.
You still got to have liability on it.
And that's what we did. We were so frugal. Our power bill was like $50 or $60.
Yeah, we had like a $50 or $60 power bill. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was tough for a long time.
Okay, Alvin Smith says, Danny, what do you do with the animals you shoot in the garden? Do you bury them? No, I just leave them laying there or drag them out to the outside edge of the garden to feed the buzzards and the other critters that come along at night and drag the carcasses off in the woods to feed on them. I don't bury them or anything like that because I don't see any need in it, because some other animal can live and survive off of the carcass of it.
Okay, so my urban garden Mary says, how are the gardens doing in the deep freeze?
We want to do a video, but it won't warm up. So, I mean, right now, outside right now, tonight, we're going to be down to wind chills in the low teens. We got up this morning, it was in the low teens. So it just won't warm up enough for me, because you can't really tell anything about your plants until you get a day that's up in the 50s and 60s, so that your plants can actually do what they're going to do. They're either going to live or die. Now, I know one of our lemon trees, I walked by it, it's loaded with blooms, and even though I've had it underneath a building covered up, I could strip the leaves. The leaves just fall off of it when I run my fingers up them. Now, the blooms aren't falling off, but the leaves are. So I know that tree is going to lose all its leaves if the freeze did not even kill the tree. So we're going to have to see. It just takes time. We're going to do a garden tour over at Pecan Grove, but we've got to have some warm days to see how the plants are going to see how they're going to fare.
One bright light says, what is one thing that each of you think every homestead needs? One thing that you got.
One thing that every homestead needs is infrastructure. I mean, if I had to put it in one word, it's infrastructure, because everybody gets the cart ahead of the horse. They go, they buy goats. They go, they'll buy a cow. They'll buy pigs. They have no infrastructure, and they come in and go, I got to stick up some electric fences here to try to keep these animals in. That's the stupidest thing in the world. Don't ever watch a channel that does stuff like that, because those people are not prepared for what they went to do, and they're
bringing more and more animals.
They're looking for a cheap way out of everything. Now, if you've got good perimeter fencing and you want to put electric fencing in between it to make paddocks and stuff like that, that's fine. But if you have no fences of no kind, and then you go buy animals and then you run out there and want to stick electric fence up, that's stupidity. You know, I mean,
because you're gonna be chasing them at some point.
fencing. Or I guess if I had to choose a second thing, if you didn't want to do infrastructure and say you live in a suburban type situation, it would be books. You know, because books have knowledge in them and wisdom, and if you need to know something, you can go to a book, and lots of times you can find an answer.
Yeah,
to what
a handheld book.
Yeah, not an e-book now, but a handheld book.
Now, mine would be, I guess I've learned since Danny and I married. When we first married, we had no way to get around except riding on one lawnmower.
Yes.
We had to walk 10 acres wherever we went, or we had to take the truck and pile everything in the truck and make roads around the 10 acres for a truck to go around, and then you still had to tote everything because you couldn't get the truck where you needed it. And we did with the old tractor the first 3 or 4 years.
Oh yeah.
So I guess mine would be, you need some way to get around on your property if you have more than 10 acres plus, and you need a way to garden, a tractor of some sort, because Danny fought with the old tractor. It did what it was supposed to do.
It did what it's supposed to do.
Now, you don't have to have a new tractor.
No, you don't have to have a new one.
But I would say one with some plows and a disc and a bush hog and, the simple things.
Yeah.
And add to it every year.
Now, a lot of my equipment that I own, I bought from old people.
Many years ago.
Many years ago that were too old to use it anymore. And they just sold it to me at a good deal. Or a wife would have a husband who passed away, and she would sell all of his equipment off, and I would go and purchase equipment from someone like a widow.
And some of it's your daddy's equipment.
Yep, some of it was my father's.
So watching for equipment sales is a biggie, because once we decided to buy a small tractor, that was a big game changer for us. We got more done in a day with the little Annie tractor that we bought originally, because we could jump on it. I could even drive it really well.
Yeah.
We could jump on it and take something and go do something. We could scoop dirt. We could haul feed bags. I mean, it had multiple purposes. And I see people walking from here to halfway to the blacktop, toting stuff that they shouldn't.
Well, what gets me is we see people on. Every now and then we'll watch a video. I mean, we don't watch many videos.
These cold days, we're watching them.
But these cold days, we can't get out and do much. We'll watch a video, and what gets me is you'll see somebody. They'll tote something halfway across the field and put in a side by side when they could have backed the side by side right up to the building they were at. And that's when you look at them and you go, those people are young. They they still hadn't learned how to use this up here. They still use this
side by side that we have now. We take it all the way into the barn and get right up to the feed barrel, and then we struggle to get it over in the feed barrel. Ain't no leaving it out 10, 15 feet from the building and toting it all the way in. Ain't gonna happen.
You can always tell the youth in someone whenever you see they're toting stuff at long distances and stuff, and I'm like, toting
big 5-gallon buckets all over the place and walking, and I'm like,
no.
You just got off a side by side, and you gonna walk 25, 30 feet across there? Nope.
No, we don't do that.
We killed ourselves the first 2 or 3
Well, my daddy
years.
told me, he said, son, if you'll use this up here instead of this back here, you'll last a lot longer in life and you'll be a lot healthier. And work smarter, not harder. Like we have a shirt that says that, and I'm just like, you know what? I wished I would have heeded my father's advice when I was younger, because I was one of these kind. I was 6'3", 240 to 255 pounds. Even when we married, you just hand me something, I pick it up and walk off with it. It didn't make no difference what it was, And now I am reaping the benefits of not only that, but having been tore all to pieces and put back together. My body, now that I'm older, my body says, hey, you can't still do this no more. But my mind keeps telling me, yes, you can.
Yeah. We utilize equipment, and I know we get a lot of flack for that. A lot of people say, well, you've got this, and you must be rich. No, it's an accumulated amount of stuff over a period of time. And you can't jump out there and have everything all at once. I mean, well, you could if you had enough money.
If you had enough money, you could, but we ain't never been that fortunate.
We, piece by piece.
Yeah.
And when we see something on sale, like when we got the Kubota side-by-side, the double-seater.
Oh, yeah, the double-seater.
We'd been wanting a double-seater, but we'd priced them, and to buy a new one was simply outrageous. And when a friend of ours had his, I mean, it's a workhorse. This is one of these that you don't mind putting sand and dirt and junk in the back and throwing stuff in the back, because it's all metal. And it's already rusted. The paint's pretty much rusted out. Danny
I fixed it up some.
He fixed it up some and put some orange paint in places. But we can throw anything in the back of that old thing and just haul off. And I wouldn't take nothing for it. I mean,
well, it's got external.
And it's got a dump body on it.
Got hydraulic dump body, external hydraulics on the rear of it.
And we got it for like, what, a quarter of the price?
Oh, yeah, we got it for a quarter of the price, yeah. And it had less hours on it than my tractor had. So, and it's the same motor that's in my tractor.
Yeah.
So,
and it is diesel.
It's a diesel, yeah.
Yeah. And so, we look for deals. And if you don't spend all your money on coffee and junk foods and eating out every time you go to town and all this stuff, and you stick that money up, because Danny taught me a very valuable lesson when we first got married. He said, a little bit each day will add up.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you in a minute what he was talking about, but I couldn't grasp that at the point. I was going, man, it ain't going to be enough. So what it was, I started picking huckleberries. And if any of you know what a huckleberry is, it's about the size of a pinhead.
Yeah, they're little bitty things.
They're little bitty. And I wouldn't let him cut any of them down, and I would pick. And every day I'd come in and I'd have about 15 or 20 in my hand. And I would eat all 15 or 20 of them. And he said, if you would put those in a bag, and he said, in a week, you'd be surprised how many you had.
Right.
In probably 2 weeks, I had a quart bag full. And I'm like, wow, I could make jelly. Instead of eating the 10 or 15 every day. And as the weeks passed, of course, more got ready faster. But that year, I think I put up, it was close to a gallon or 2 gallons. I can't remember. I know it was at least a gallon
I know that.
of huckleberries. And we priced them that year because we didn't know what huckleberries went for. And we priced them. And a gallon of huckleberries, if you had them sent to you that year, were like 80 bucks.
80 bucks for a gallon, yeah.
And so I just saved me 80 bucks by picking my own huckleberries, you know. But he showed me a little bit every day will add up. So that's what I was going with money. If you stuck $5 a day up, think about the end of the year, you're going, oh, wow, that's a nice little nest egg. If you had $20 a week to put up or $40 a week, whatever you can stick up, stick it up. Don't say, oh man, I got $40. Let's go out to eat tonight.
Let's go eat tonight. We got $40 left over. You know, or I worked a little overtime this week. We can afford to go out to eat or whatever. No, take that and put it on well, I mean, I used to teach finances. I taught people how to snowball their debts and stuff like that. And, you know, I mean, take that and put it on your highest occurring interest rate and on the principal so that you can pay it down.
Yeah. We're not doing any gardening other than what's already out.
No, it's too cold to garden right now.
We're not seed starting or anything like that until up into February. We hadn't worked on the high tunnel because of the cold weather either.
No, we haven't done any of that.
We talked about it, but it's just too cold to stand out there and hold cold pipe and stuff like that. Danny and I usually, this is something we were talking about today, usually in the wintertime, we have mild winters.
Yeah, we usually have we have very mild winters usually.
So we usually work all winter long outside because it's in the 50s and 60s. This winter it's been colder during the day.
Yeah.
And the wind's been blowing.
The wind's been the issue. The chill factor has been. It's not that it's been it has been cold, but the chill factor has been the issue. And plus, she and I both got sick right before Christmas. And I got beyond mine relatively quick, I'd say, within 2 weeks. 10
days, yeah.
But Ms. Wanda still, to this day, I'm going to probably have to take her to a doctor one day this week, coming week, because she's just still has no energy. And we can't figure out why she doesn't have any energy level. You know, her energy level's not coming back.
Yeah, the energy level's what I'm having the most trouble with right now.
Yeah.
The cough is dissipating. I still have a cough, but it's not as bad as it was last week. So I'm thinking the cough will eventually go away. But the energy level's what's bothering me. And so we kind of got to, if it's still hanging on this week, I've got to go have it seen about.
Yeah, and we're going to do a trade-off because we're going to be trading off almost 0 temperature wind chills to a week of nothing but storms and rain. You know, that's what we got coming. And then we still won't be able to get out and work on anything because
it's raining.
Because it's raining, and then we don't want to get a relapse. And then on top of that, the ground's going to be boggy. It's not like we can go do anything in any of the gardens. We can't really prepare any soil. We can't do anything. It's just going to be pouring down raining all the time, which means we going to have to do more indoor projects, you know, and we try to figure out what some of the best indoor projects to do is, but, you know, we don't have a lot of them. So, you know, it's one of them things. We just trying to get through this winter so that we can get back on schedule. Because I've got this disc messed up in my neck, and I can't lift anything hardly over 20 pounds or maybe at the most. And I know what it means if I go to a doctor. They're going to want to do surgery, and I don't want surgery. So I'm trying to hold off, you know, thinking maybe some point it'll correct itself. It did before. I broke my neck once before, and it took care of itself eventually. But This one seems to be a little bit more aggravating.
Yeah, Mike says that he saw one of your videos from last year and you were looking great, and this year you're looking a little more peaked and stuff. And that's the deal. Last year, I don't know, maybe just buying Pecan Grove, I don't know. It gave us a boost of energy. It gave us a new renew.
Well, it's what we've been looking for years and years.
And we got to just walk the land. We were outside most all from January all through the year, and we were outside a lot.
Yeah.
And so our color was better and we felt better. But once it got too hot, the heat of the summer, we had to stay in more. And the heat of the summer took its toll on us. We got really, I think I dehydrated during the summer and had some issues there. And I don't know if I ever really got totally over that.
Right.
And then had this spell with this, whatever this crud stuff was. And seemed like the dehydration came back. And yeah, I've tried electrolytes and different things, but I still think there's other things I need. And I'm going to just have to start. I've added the apple cider vinegar and different things to my diet. But it just isn't picking it up where it needs to be. I don't want to overdo something, but yet I'm not getting to the level I need to be yet.
Randall Strickland says, do you do soil tests? Well, that tells me Randall doesn't watch us on a regular basis, because yes, I do soil tests. I have multiple videos out there about soil tests. Matter of fact, we just done one here a while back. Grower Solutions sells a fantastic soil test kit. We did it on our containers out here, and I showed y'all with the soil mixture I put in the containers, I showed you what it was high in and what it was low in, and we ended up with an 86% really good soil mixture in our pots. We was only lacking in a couple of things. One was the pH was off just a little bit, and I think the boron was off just a little bit. The zinc was off just a minute amount, and the rest of it was screaming high, you know. So yeah, we still do soil tests. Let's see here.
Yeah, somebody said the link for Pecan Grove in the description wasn't working, but Miss Lippy put it up. It is at Pecan Grove MS.
Yeah.
That's,
you can't just type in Pecan Grove.
Yeah, and I don't know what I have in the description of this. When I typed in things, they don't seem to work. I have to go back and find a way to make some of these links work. Even though I think I've got it right, most of the time it doesn't seem to work. So.
Yeah, so it's
Are we planting any fruit trees at Pecan Grove?
We will when they become available. We actually have some trees ordered that
haven't come yet.
Haven't come. They've been ordered for months, and
yeah, like 2 months.
Like 2 months now. They haven't showed up yet. And the problem with a lot of these tree companies is they're up north, and they wait till it's good weather for them to plant, but it's too late for us because we need to be planting now.
Yeah, I've got to contact him and see. But we've been moving things, like where he had his Danny corn, there were blueberry trees planted in the middle of that field, and we didn't need them in the middle of that field.
Yeah, I couldn't really lime the field like I needed to because the blueberries was in there. So I took the bucket on my tractor, and I actually dug deep under those trees with a bucket and scooped the dirt and everything up out of there. I already had a pre-dug hole in different locations over at Pecan Grove, and I went and just dumped those blueberry trees over in them holes and didn't disturb the roots or anything, and just packed the dirt back down around them. And we're going to see how it does this year, if they survive or if they actually die.
Yeah, we'll see if that helped. Then out in the hayfield, they had stuck, again, blueberry trees out in the edge of the hayfield. And Danny needed that field extended as much as possible, so he dug those up also. So, what, maybe 10 or 12, 15 altogether?
I'll probably move close to 15 of them altogether, yeah.
And to a different place on the property.
Yeah.
And then, what else have you moved? You've moved several trees.
I've moved some fig trees that was on the property here. I've moved them. And I'm going to actually dig up some trees. I'm going to dig some trees up that's at Deep South Homestead because they're really in a bad location and they're just not growing. I'm going to dig up a couple of pear trees and a ginkgo biloba tree and maybe a fig tree they're just not in the best locations. They've been sitting there for years and done nothing, so I'm going to dig them up.
And then when they cut all the woods,
oh yeah,
the sun is just blistering them this year.
So I'm going to move them over to Pecan Grove and see if I can get them in some better soil over there. And because if they die, I really haven't lost anything because they're not doing anything where they're in anyway, you know. So. And
we wanted to add maybe a couple of pears. I mean, more pears, more peaches, maybe things like that. We'll just have to see. Excuse me.
Allison says she's heard that shipping has been delayed across the country due to extreme weather, and I can see that with all the snow and the blizzards and stuff like that. I can actually see that actually happening. You know, I mean, if it was to do in the deep south here what it's done in most of the places in the United States, the deep south would be shut down completely. You wouldn't be nobody doing nothing. Yeah. I mean, down here, if it snows a little bit, they shut the whole country down here.
I know. I was laughing. Miss Allison was saying she was going out and doing some things around town and stuff, and she said we've had a little snow, but it's less than 3 inches. We don't have to shovel, and I mean she was getting in her car going to town and doing her thing, and I'm sitting here going, if it had snowed 1 inch in Mississippi, the whole state shuts down. Ain't nobody going nowhere because they don't know how to drive.
They don't know how to drive. People here they're just nuts. These people can't drive nowhere. But we'll wait and we'll see. Beverly asked, why did you decide to take my Social Security? Well, I own 3 companies. And I paid in the maximum Social Security. Most people only.
And he's getting the minimum.
Most people only pay in 7.3% or something like that, and the boss pays the other 7-point-something%. I paid in the full 15.5% or whatever it was back then. And I've done that, and I actually paid extra because when the doctor put me back together. Like I told y'all in the beginning of the video, when the doctor put me back together, he told me, he said, at some point in your life, you're going to be disabled. Well, I fought that. I said, no, I'm not. He said, oh, yes, you will. I said, no, I won't. I will not hear that. I will not speak that upon myself. I will not hear that. Now, of course, the Navy SEALs told me no, I couldn't come back because of all the accidents and everything that had happened. But, and I was devastated because of that. But I still refused to accept the fact that I was going to be disabled one day. But just in case, when I was running my companies, I paid in more Social Security than I was supposed to pay in. Just in case that day did come and I just was hard-headed and just wouldn't believe it. Well, I got to be 62 years old, and then I got to be 63, and I kept thinking, I told Wanda, I said, you know what, you do the math, and if I wait till I'm 70 to draw, if I live to be 70, I'm not going to make any more money. I'm actually going to make less money than if I go ahead and draw it now. So I went ahead and signed up for it, and, like a snap of a finger, they okayed me right off the bat. And of course, it's not a lot, but it's more. I'm getting back what I paid in, some of it, and I'll never get back all that I paid in. But what gets me is they give you a raise. We got a 3%. Was it 3% raise? and then your supplements go up like 5%. So. You really didn't get a raise because they wanted to raise the supplements prices up at the pharmaceutical places so that they could actually say they gave you a raise when really they were just paying the pharmaceutical people what they were doing. So, I mean, it's
just kind of crazy.
It's a tit for tat.
So, for the most part, if YouTube shuts us down, we still have an income. That was one of the things, and I am 62. I could start drawing mine. But until YouTube or whatever goes away, we're just kind of looking out for our future. if we had to live on Social Security, then we would have both our incomes.
Right.
And that would pay our bills.
Yeah.
So we're really kind of looking at all aspects. Plus, in a year and a half, he can have the medical part of it added
Yeah, I
on.
can have that. I can have
And
all
so
the
that's
Medicare,
one of the
Medicaid,
things
all
that,
that stuff added.
You know,
on.
if he makes it that far,
I'll make it that far.
we'll be
Yeah.
adding the medical, I guess, because that would take a big, huge chunk off of us right now.
Yeah. In the shape that the world is in right now, I feel like that it may not be available to me. Because President Bush sent me a personal letter that he told me, he said, you need to invest in other ways because it may not be available for you when you reach 70 years old if you're going to wait to that age.
Yeah.
And and at that point, I did start investing in a lot of different things. And then I realized, I'm like, whoa, this is just numbers on a ledger here. I better put this into, like I told y'all in the beginning here, I better put this into something I can lay my hands on, something tangible. So I pulled out everything I had out of everything and put it into tangible objects. And I'm a lot happier depending on that than I am some marketing scheme out there, some HMM or, you know, or whatever out there to 401k or anything. Because, you know, you take a 401k, people invest in a 401k, and then you get to a certain point in your life and you have something happen and you go want to draw the money out because your money, you put it in there, but you go to take it out and they go, oh, wait a minute, that's going to be a 25% penalty on you. You can't take that out until you're a certain age. And then when you reach a certain age and you do take it out, then they tax you to death on it, depending on what the taxes is at that time. I mean, so you got to really... you know, you got to really think about where you put your money at, because scriptures in the Bible has more to say about finances than it does about salvation. That's how important it is. You know, the Lord said, and to whom much is given, much is expected out of that person. And then he goes on to give us examples about a man who had 1 talent and 2 talents and 5 talents and 10 talents, you know, and the one who had the one hid it because he was scared he'd lose it, and he took it away from him and gave it to the one who had the most. I mean, God expects us to literally be wise, be frugal, but be very not, he doesn't want you to be conniving or anything like that, but he expects you to be a business person. He doesn't expect you to sit around and just waste your money away, because he's not going to give it to you if you're going to just waste it.
Oh, Lisa from Active
Agent.
Agent.
Hey, I just seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, she said if she gets full benefits, she has to wait till 72. Girl, woo! That's a long time because you're a young woman.
I know.
Oh, there was something else I saw there, and I was trying to figure out. Jean asked, did YouTube cut our money on our videos? We always get cut.
We always get cut.
November, December, January,
February. Yeah.
3 to 4, sometimes 5 months. Our money goes from here down half, and this time it went down 3/4.
Yeah.
We lost about 3/4 of our income for the last 3 months, which, you know, is okay. Some is better than nothing, but it really did take a big toll, and it always does it right at Christmas. I don't know if people just don't invest. You would think they would invest more at Christmas in advertising, but it's they invest less.
Let me say this, because I always have to be realistic about things. You cannot outgive God. You know, I mean, I'm not one that teaches tithing, because tithing was something that was Old Testament. I believe in proportionate giving is what I actually believe, and I believe the Bible teaches that. If you was actually to go back to tithing, people go, well, I give my 10%. Well, you better go back and study the scriptures a little bit better, because it's more like 30%. If you go back and do it the way Israel was taught to do it, it's more of a 30% tithe than a 10%. You know, and then you go over to Malachi and ask, how have you robbed God? Well, it says in tithes and offerings. You know, and that's Old Testament giving then. You move into the New Testament, you're blessed based on proportionate giving. Because you can't outgive God. I mean, if you want to be blessed beyond measure, the Bible says there are those that cast their bread upon water, you know, and yet they increase. There are those that give away and give away and give away, and yet they increase because God says He loves a cheerful giver. And then you've got scripture that says, you know, the Lord says, you know, you took care of me this, and you took care of me here, you took care of me there. And they go, Lord, when did we take care of you? He said, well, when you helped the widow, when you helped the poor, when you helped this, and when you did that, you were doing it to me. So Wanda and I, that's the way we live. We'll pick one person a year a lot of times, and we'll bless that person financially, you know. Or we'll, like one year we went to a church down the road, and we asked them, did they have a missions to the Jews? I don't necessarily use the word Jews, but to the Hebrew speaking people in Israel, and they said, yes, actually we did. And so we made a contribution toward that, toward their missions program. And as soon as we did, that week we got a check back in the mail from somewhere we didn't even expect it for the exact same amount of money. You cannot outgive God. I don't care. I don't care what you do. The one thing that you or that's more valuable than your money is your time. I mean, you stop and think about that. Your time is worth more than your money is, because you only got so long to live upon this earth. And when you give someone your time, you've given them part of your life. And to me, that is where it's all at, you know. And I mean, I'm not trying to preach anything particular. I'm just telling you what we do.
Yeah, we have all kinds of things that we do as far as giving away on our channel. I like to give away smaller things hundreds of times throughout the year than try to give away a big something.
Yeah, you got people out there that'll give huge things away
once a year.
Once a year. Wanda and I don't do that. We give away small things, like we may give packs of seeds to people. We may send some of my books I've wrote to people. We may mail out just electroculture rods to people. We've given away so much stuff to people.
And we like doing that because some of you don't have the extra money to have some of this stuff. And so I've been trying to bless people as I see a need. And we've been trying to do that all year long this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, YouTube cuts our money every year. We understand that. That's part of the nature of the beast, I guess you could say.
Well, we're not popular. When you tell the truth and you bring the gospel into something.
It's done it every year since we started. So it's just kind of something that happens in the algorithms or whatever, or it's just at Christmas. Who knows?
Yeah.
But usually ours will pick back up, say February, March, when we start
around
gardening
March,
a lot.
we start gardening and stuff like that.
It'll pick up. It'll usually stay at a decent, steady pace until about September, October, and then it'll just go down again. So we make amends for that. We always have. And I did want to say, Miss D, D225, her husband had passed away last week, and we sent a plant for all of y'all. She sent me a message today to tell all of y'all thank you for the cards, the prayers, the thoughts, and all throughout the past week. She's appreciated all that, and so I told her I would pass that on to y'all. And so thank y'all for praying for her and her family.
Yes, okay. Well, actually, our time is up. We're at 8 o'clock. I just looked down there.
Yeah, Miss Lippy's y'all put your prayer request up.
Yes. Let's see here. And yeah, I want to say that Stephanie is right. Stephanie Perkins there says, if we bless someone then brag about it, then we have robbed ourselves of the blessing. Should bless others in silence. That is so true. You do not go around. You're like the Pharisees. The Lord says that they have their blessings, or in other words, they got what they're going to get right there whenever they went to spouting off and talking about what they've done, or when the money changers would come in there. And you have to understand how the temples were. They had this big metal funnel thing that came up, and the Pharisees would come through and they would dump their coins into it, and they'd get lots of small coins, so it'd make lots of noise going down that funnel, and it'd sound like people would go, whoa, they gave a lot, you know. And that's when he used the parable of the widow with the 2 mites. He said, you know, she gave more than all of them in there gave because she gave all she had. You know, I mean, so you gotta really watch how you do it. It's the intent of the heart. God sees the heart. He don't see the outside person. He sees what's in the heart, and that's where you got to really, really, really be a cheerful giver, and not one that boasts and brags about who they gave what to.
Yeah. Because, I mean, just for an example, like at Christmas, we gave away 2 boxes. One was on Patreon and one was here on YouTube. And the person that won on YouTube never contacted me. I didn't hear from them. And so I just picked somebody from my Etsy store that I had sent something because I had the address. I had no clue if this person would be receptive to a box from us or if they just wanted a book or whatever. And I sent it to them, and I got the most wonderful message back from the lady that I sent it to. She said she watches all the time, but yet she doesn't comment very often. And she was an elderly lady that was raising grandchildren, and she really appreciated the things that were in the box because it helped her with some of her prep items that she needed. And then she messaged me the week later, and I think they got the same stuff that I had. And so I get new friends that way all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and I have a couple of ladies, Miss Kathy and Miss it just went out the window.
Don't ask me.
Arizona. Used to talk to her on the phone all the time, and then she writes me.
I got a letter from her this week.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, I can't. Her name just went out the window when I went to say it. She knows who
That's
she
what happens when you get old.
She and I talked on the phone when we first started YouTube. I had several ladies that would call me, and I would talk to them on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know them from anybody else, but anyway, she was one of them. And when we got rid of the house phone and the internet that we had, and just went to a cell phone, I didn't call all these people and give them phone numbers and stuff like that. I just quit. And because it was taking up a lot of time, because I had about 10 or 12 I was talking to.
Cell phones were expensive at the time.
And the cell phone cost per, you know. And so she asked, could she write to me off and on. So for 7 or 8 years, she's been writing to me from Arizona, and I love it because I get to know what they're doing there. Arizona is very different from here, and they have a very different lifestyle than we do. And then Miss Kathy, I just get tickled at her. I mean, Miss Kathy sends me something about maybe twice a month, and Danny and I we just like listening to her talk. You know, she writes like she talks. That's the way it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's about time for us to pray so we can. We got the fire's about going out in yonder. I'm burning up, guys. All right,
it's supposed to be cold
it's
tonight.
Supposed to be. It's in the teens outside with the wind chills, and we've got this house so doggone warm with that heater in there that I am
like our wood heat.
I'm sitting here soaking wet with sweat, and I'm gonna have to change my shirts and all before it gets a little bit later tonight. But
yeah, we like the wood heat. Really.
The only thing about the wood heat is it dries it out in here a lot. But you know what? That's okay. I'd rather be dried out warm than freezing death cold. Let's put it that way. But anyway, we got a lot of people up here who has put up a lot of prayer requests. I've been sitting here reading through them as they go up the thing here as fast as my eyes can see anyway.
Somebody said Super Bowl pick. We don't do Super Bowl.
We don't do Super Bowl.
I don't watch ball games.
No, I don't play football. I used to play some football, but To me, I
like
thought it was
60 years ago.
It's like 60,
No,
no, about 50 something years ago. To me, it's just foolishness to chase a pigskin around on a field. And I'm sure there's people out there who love to do
paid
it.
dearly, I guess it makes it a little.
Yeah, but the pay is ridiculously stupid. But
yeah, we don't watch ball games.
We don't watch any kind of sports.
Like
we don't do sports at all.
We don't watch TV anyway.
No, we don't. That is true. We don't have TV, so I guess we don't watch nothing.
And I don't really watch a lot of YouTube. But I guess the most I've watched videos in 4 or 5 years is the last week or two, being stuck inside, being sick, and then it cold. I'll watch, and I'm totally dismayed at all of it. It's nothing but propaganda.
Yeah,
it's nothing but fear.
Well, you know, you say that. You asked me.
Fear.
You asked me the other day. You said, "Is there anything out there that's really we can watch?" And I told you, I said, "Look, I can't find nothing I really want to watch."
No.
You know? So
nobody's putting up anything that I can even sit through. Probably the only thing I've really sat through recently is Miss Lippy's videos. I really don't. I mean, I started Kevin and Sarah's. I think I watched Kevin and Sarah at Living Traditions. But for the most part, I don't watch people's videos. I'll turn them on. I don't get past the thumbnails for the first. But then...
Yeah, thumbnails is a big issue with us.
If the thumbnails turn me off to start with.
Yeah.
And then if I do flip on it just to see what they're saying, I read the comments because I know they're not going to say anything till the end of the video. And I read the comments, get the gist of what they're doing, and I click off. I don't watch people. They're boring.
Yeah.
I know I'm boring too, but I mean...
Okay, we got to pray. Father, we thank you for the good night you've given us here. Thank you for keeping us warm in the cold outside, Lord. And there are probably a lot of people out there that's a lot less fortunate, Father. And I pray for those people that's out in this cold. Some will die from hypothermia tonight and tomorrow night and in the nights to come. And Father, bless those people, Father. It's all about choices that we make in life, you know. And Father, I just pray that you put a break to this cold. We knew this was coming. We knew that the cycle that we're in with the sun and the earth and all that, we knew this was going to be a roller coaster year, and we're just starting, and it's fixing to get worse. So please bless those that are less fortunate and have to sit out in the cold, Father. And Lord, those that have put up that lost loved ones, we want to remember their families, Father. I've been there. I've lost a spouse. I know what it's like. And it's different for everybody, but I know what that feeling is like. And I do pray for those that's lost the love of their life now. And Father, I sit back and I think about those that have the C, V, and the D, and Lord, and those that have cancer of all types, and they're going through treatments, and they've got leukemias and lymphoma type cancers, all these types of things. Lord, you're the great physician. We lean on you. We ask that you come and help us, Father. We know that 50 years ago you never heard the word cancer. Today, 1 in 5 people will get cancer, or 3 in 5 people will get cancer, and 1 in those 5 will be your family member. And Father, it's got to be coming from something that we all have in common, which is our food system. So if we could get people back to raising their own food, raising their own meat and stuff like that, I think we could probably break this chain of so much cancer. And it is what it is, Father. That's why we lean on you and ask that you help us all out. Father, go with us, guide and direct us through the week. As we have a lot of rain coming this week, I just pray that you'll watch over everybody through the flooding. We've had lots of snow and ice. Now it's going to be flooding. So watch over us, take care of us. And as we've now entered into World War III, Father, I pray that you watch over your people in this nation and help us to have ears to see, ears to hear, eyes to see. And Father, we use wisdom and understanding with everything that's going on with us now. We love you and we appreciate you and ask that you do forgive us where we failed you. We ask this in Christ's name. Amen. I knew you was going to start coughing on me. That's the reason I had to.
Yeah, I know. I'm almost out of water too.
Okay, I drank a lot of water tonight because it's so hot sitting here. It is hot.
But there was something that come to me, and I hadn't even mentioned this to Danny yet, but the C, whatever.
Yeah.
B.
C, the V, and the D.
The D. One thing it does is messes with your ability to taste.
Yes.
All the new foods that they're creating are basically tasteless unless they add something to it.
This is true. This is true.
So is there a connection?
There is definitely a connection with giving everybody the CBD and taking their taste away from them. So when they give them all these insects to eat and this printed meat and all that stuff, the average person does not know what real food tastes like.
Oh, I know that.
The average person does not know.
They're creating a system where you don't really care what it tastes like. I know I've had a little bit of a touch of that. I told Danny over the last 2 or 3 weeks, food just doesn't taste right now.
It don't taste right.
And so and this is our food. And usually I can eat and it has a certain taste.
Yeah.
Things are different now. And so and that's what made me start thinking, is there some connection with this?
It probably is. I know everybody say, "Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist." Well, conspiracy. Do you even know where conspiracy come from? It came from the Kennedy assassination. Okay, that's when it began, from the CIA. But we got to get off here. People's wanting a tip.
Yeah. That was my tip.
That was your tip?
Well, it ain't a tip. It's just my thought.
It was a thought you had while we was in prayer.
No, I had it 2 or 3 days ago.
Okay.
I was wondering about that. Is there a connection? Okay. It just happened to come.
Okay. I have to disagree with you, Genesis. You can grow food in a 5G environment. 5G cannot penetrate evergreen trees. If you surround your place with evergreen trees, 5G cannot penetrate that.
Why do you think they're cutting so
Why do you
many
think
trees?
they're cutting down all the trees, down lines and stuff like this? 5G works off of line of sight. So if you surround yourself with evergreens, 5G cannot penetrate through that. And you can grow your stuff inside that. Okay, tip. Tip. Let's see here. Keep your eyes on the sun, because in the next, I can't go into detail about this because they'll pull my dadgum video down, but for the next 2 years, the sun's going to start doing something really crazy. So keep your eyes, watch the sun. Now don't just go out and look at it. Now don't be, you know what I mean?
That's not what you mean.
That's not what I mean. We used to have a guy at work for us called Double Alt. He used to tell him when he was welding, say, watch this, and he'd get down there and he'd watch you weld, and then he'd come to work, his eyes all be burnt, swelled, and everything. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about looking at the sun, but watch the sun and listen to what people are beginning to say about the sun. Now, I can't sit here and talk about it right here, but I can tell you this, in the next 2 years, everything's going to change because of the sun, okay?
You're growing, your health.
Everything, your health, your gardens, your mental stability, I mean, down to everything about you. The weather, the earth, the water, everything is going to change in the next 2 years. So that's your tip. And I'm not going to go into detail.
The health part is something that most people don't realize, that the way the sun and other things are going to be happening, it could cause you to feel, it cause headaches, it could cause you to feel dizzy, it could cause you to...
That's because of geomagnetic fields around the sun. But a
lot of things
But you're not going to be getting any, I'll say this, you're not going to be able to get any vitamin D and vitamin D3 and all that from the sun, because the, how can I say this? The spectrums from the sun that you get that from are not going to be available for the next 2 years. And that's just one part of it, okay?
Yeah, watch your vitamin D levels.
Yeah, watch them.
Even though if you're outside this summer or
being out in the sun is not going to, all that being out in the sun in the next 2 years is going to do is going to burn your skin. Because, and I'm serious, it's going to burn your skin. You're literally going to get burnt. And you're not going to get any vitamin D from it because the spectrums are not there. Okay?
Yeah.
I've been through all kind of stuff that's shared with me about that, and it's one of those things that man plays no part in this. Okay? This is not man-made. This is nature doing its cyclical things once ever so many thousands of years. And we have a planetary alignment coming in 2024 that's going to play some really crazy things on us. We have a solar eclipse coming that's actually going to cross a previous solar eclipse, and somewhere around the New Madrid fault is where the cross will be at. Last time that happened was, what was it? 1813, 1811, somewhere in there. And then we had the New Madrid fault went off right after that. Mississippi River flowed backwards for 3 days, you know. And so is it going to happen again? I'm not telling you it's going to happen again. I'm just going to tell you
it happened one time.
It happened one time.
And it could
happen again, but I'm not going to tell you that it's going to happen again. I'm just going to tell you, watch the skies and watch the sun. That's my tip tonight. Love you.